40inbox.com here, and we're going to be checking out this TikTok from Erica Olberg. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's basically don't fall for this scam, and it's basically don't fall for this ZELLE scam. And a lot of people don't know that this is a really common issue that a lot of people get into trouble with, and I thought this would be a pretty good thing to cover. So let's check this out.
Don't fall for the scam. Hi, this is your bank calling. Looks like there was an attempt to take money from your account, so just follow the steps I give you. She has no idea. Follow Erica. Watch this. If you really are my
By the way, that little whisper thing's kind of funny.
bank, then you won't mind if I hang up and just call back using the official bank number provided on the back of my card, right? No, then you'll be on hold forever. This is urgent. We need to get this done now. Nice try, but I know that you're trying to get me to authorize a transaction, so then I'll really lose that money. Ugh, most people fall for this scam. Who taught you this? Erica did. She's a lawyer and has my back when it comes to money. That's why I follow her. Don't
So obviously her video was quick, short to the point, and on point as well, right? Like everything she said is basically correct. And the problem is, and a lot of people need to understand this, a lot of people who fall for this scam are two people, like two types of people. The first type is people who just don't necessarily pay attention, right? And just catching the person at the very right time at the very wrong moment. Where oh, they're like in the middle of doing something, or they're like busy doing something, or they're just struggling at that specific time for whatever reason during their day, during their life, right? And then to get hit with this scam and they end up falling for it. The other one are typically people who are mentally not all there, meaning they're not fully mentally developed, or they are at some level in the elderly range, which is why a lot of people who do scams tend to really only go after people who are like 65 and older because they know that the conversion of basically getting those people to fall for these types of scams are so much higher. Like, how many times have you heard of like an elderly person falling for the dumbest scam ever? Right? Oh, the Nigerian prince scam. Oh, that like romance scam, right? Like it's a very common thing that like elderly people will fall for it. This is also why you should never have an elderly family member watch QVC or whatever, like any shopping network. You never want them to watch a shopping network because they're just gonna buy some useless item for like $100 that costs like $1 to actually make, and they're gonna keep on buying that stuff, right? Those are the same type of people that fall for these types of scams. Okay, and the issue, the biggest issue about this is that once you transfer this money, you are probably never going to get the money back ever again. Like, period. End of story. Because you literally sent the money, right? You agreed to send the money. And a lot of people need to be very careful or warn other people about this type of scam because this is a really, really big issue that a lot of people are not paying attention to. And by the way, this isn't just like a Zelle scam. This could be any type of scam, right? It's just the Zelle scam is so commonplace because so many banks have this connected to the bank accounts, right? And like it's such a really bad thing because basically you get like elderly people end up going and falling for this scam and basically being like, oh, like we got to send you this money through like Zelle. We accidentally sent you this money through Zelle. Can you send this money back? And basically end up sending them your actual money that's inside your account because what they sent the check through Zelle or whatever is not like a legitimate transfer. They basically do like a fake transfer to your account of like fake amount of money. So basically, someone, a scammer, could basically fake a transfer of like $5,000 into your account. That is a fraudulent transaction. Like there's nothing that exists on that side of the transaction, but it shows that you're getting transferred these $5,000. So when you get contacted to transfer this money back over, you are actually legitimately sending your own $5,000 to the scammer because you have never been actually transferred any real funds from the scammer. Like, it's an absolutely crazy situation. And this is actually very common in like check depositing scams, right? Again, there's like different types of scams like this. Like Zelle is just one of the most common ones because banks, for some reason, still use Zelle, right? But this could also be like a Cash App scam, but this could also be like a fraudulent check scam, right? Where someone is like depositing their check into your account and it shows that you're getting deposited this amount, but in reality, it's a fake check. And so when you try to like refund the money, you actually give them your real money just so that you could end up getting completely scammed out of your money, right? And it's just a really scary thing because a lot of these scams that end up succeeding on the elderly or people at the very wrong moment will never get this money back. May never get any of this money back, right? Because this is a very different thing than someone like hacking into your stuff or like someone like stealing your credit card or debit card or all that kind of stuff. Or like it's a very different thing because it is truly a fraudulent transaction. But if you fall for these scams where you legitimately actually transferred your own money out of your own account to the scammer, that is going to be very hard for you to get that money back, regardless of the bank, regardless of the protections that a lot of these banks do, right? It's going to be very hard for you to get the money back. And if you only have like 2 grand to your name or 5 grand to your name, and this happens to you and you get scammed out of that money, you're screwed. Even if you were to get that money back, you're screwed because then you're going to get hit with overdraft fees. Then you're going to get hit with all these chargebacks. You're going to just basically get even more financially destroyed for falling for this type of scam. So you got to be really careful when it comes down to this sort of stuff, right? Like be very aware, right? Like only transact with your bank account through your app or through your online banking thing. Also, be very careful when you go and like try to log on to your bank account, right? Because a lot of people also don't know this, but sometimes when you type in the bank website, whatever your bank website is, if you misspell it, or if you do like a Google search and then type the bank name, you might actually be led to a fraudulent scam website that looks exactly the same as the actual bank website. So you could end up putting in your information and literally losing everything that you have ever made and lose all of your bank account information, lose all of your stock account information. Like you could be truly financially destroyed for falling for this type of scam. So be very, very careful when you receive any sort of messages like this, any sort of calls like this. By the way, the FBI is probably not going to be calling you for whatever reason. The IRS probably doesn't care about you because guess what? They're probably just going to send you a envelope through the mail, right? Being like, "Hey, you owe us tax money." Like it's going to be very different. They're not going to call you. They're not going to text you, right? It's going to be a very official document that you're going to get. You're not going to get a call. You're not going to get a text. Like your bank account is pretty much, well, your bank is pretty much never going to text you as well. They're pretty much never going to call you as well. So just be very careful. By the way, if you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, go to 40inbox.com. And Erica Kohlberg did a pretty good video on this, on the whole Zelle scam. Props to her.